Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm repainting an old picture of mine. I painted longboats, or also called narrowboats or barges, on a canal in England. And I had used my usual palette and then recently got some new brighter colors. And I've added those to my palette, I think 2 or 3. A brilliant blue, a yellow green, and a cadmium orange. And I also added a Naples yellow, which I like to use for sand, a sandy beach, or sunlight, dappled on trees, things like that. So here's my palette with those added paints, and I'm going to try that same picture. I wanted to put that picture in my video, but I couldn't find it. I had it on an external drive and I can't find it anywhere. It was so long ago, it had to be several years old. So I'm not surprised. I've painted a lot of paintings in that time. So I hope you enjoy the video, and if you did, or if you do, please like and subscribe. That helps my channel grow. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for those who've already subscribed, and here we go. This first rendition of my painting is very rough. I'm starting off with both ultramarine blue and the brilliant blue, mix them together with titanium white, and I'm putting in the sky, which is quite patchy between the trees. You won't see all of this blue once I got the foliage in, but I'm just patching it in as I go. I always get the first mid-tone level of my painting down. When I've completed that, I'll go in afterwards and add highlights and shadow. To make grey, I add raw umber, which is a lovely neutral. I add that to my blues and titanium white. That gives me a pale grey that I use for the tree trunks. Now, I'm saying I use it for the tree trunks, but there will be other colours on there as I go along. I usually add raw sienna, maybe even alizarin crimson or French ultramarine blue, even some green sometimes. It just depends. I like my tree trunks to look vibrant, and I like to get as many colours as I can into painting. I meant to add a little more red to the wall of this bridge, but this is just the initial painting anyway, and I'm working in acrylics, and I'm working on a 9x12 canvas panel as it happens. And when you're working in acrylics, you can add or take away color so easily. They're very easy paints to work with. I quite often work from that central pool of colour. I add raw umber to it, French ultramarine blue, sac green, all the colours. And so my colours tend to get a little bit mixed down, if you know what I mean. And not everybody paints like that. It's just my way of painting, I guess. So experiment. everything is still very rough at this stage. I'm just getting that initial layer of paint on the canvas. I do that all over the canvas. I don't put any highlights or shadows in until I've got that first layer of midtones down. Well, I might put the odd shadow in here and there. I'm reading this straight from Google. The narrowboats were originally built as working boats in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries for carrying goods on narrow canals. And they were designed by, the first canals to feature locks in the now standard size were the canals designed by James Brindley and approved by Parliament in 1766. So they've got a long history, these narrowboats. And I believe a lot of people buy them as sort of a second place to go on the weekends, or some people live on them permanently. And I think you can actually rent them for vacations. I'm not sure about that though, you have to look it up. River water, canal water is something I have to really work at to get the reflections and to get the watery look. I'm find that seawater is a little easier for that because you've got all the waves, haven't you, and the ripples and the foam and the surf, and that all adds to that look. But you don't have that in river water and canal water. There is a flow, but it's not as strong, I don't think, as you get with waves and seawater. I might be talking nonsense, but I just find it a little harder to get the effect I need when I'm painting this. So it just takes me a long time, and I end up going over patches of it several times, and it's not easy for me to do river or canal water. When I'm painting trees, I don't paint every single leaf. I dot it on with a bristle brush around, and I use 3 colors of green. I use my mid-tone green. Then I usually put on my shadow green, the darker color, and I quite often leave the highlight, the lightest green, for last, because that's usually when I evaluate the whole painting as a whole, see where the light is touching those areas. And I might even put a highlight on my highlight, which is usually straight titanium white. Excuse me. And that's how I paint. But recently I bought some new colors, very vibrant colors, and so I'm trying to incorporate those into my painting, and I'm hoping that's going to give my work a little more vibrancy, because I've been painting with the same palette for years and years, and my work pretty much all looks the same. It has that same color scheme, same quality, and so I'm just trying to punch things up a little bit, get a little bit of vibrancy going. The Bargees call the people who watch them from bridges gongooglers. So it's an act of gongoogling. I think that's a lovely name. For fine detail, I find it very helpful to use paint markers. They've got that sharp tip to the paint pens, and that makes it very easy. So at the end, or towards the end of this painting, I'll probably get out my paint markers and sharpen up those barges quite a bit. Once I've got in my mid-tone coat all over the painting, I sort of dodge around here and there with lights and darks. I'm not very methodical about it. I'm sure there are people who are. But I tend to look at my painting, see where I think the light might hit a tree trunk or graze the top of a tree. And that's how I paint from there on out. I'm just sort of dodging around all over the painting, dabbing in my highlights and my shadows. And I like the effect I get with that. Putting in your shadows shows up your highlights, but your darks are needed. You mustn't leave those darks out, and you must put your shadows in to give your painting dimension. It's important when you're painting water to put the reflections in, the reflections of the boat. And don't forget that water has movement, so those reflections won't, unless it's a very still day, those reflections will be sort of zigzaggy in the water. Nothing will be still, and it won't be a photographic sort of reflection. It will be a broken reflection. All the colour on a narrowboat is on the cabin, and I think that the base is always black. I'm not 100% sure of that, and I think it's some kind of tar thing. I suppose it's waterproofing, and it may not actually be tar. It looks like a sort of tarry side to it, but I imagine that's flammable, so I don't think it is. I don't know, I'd have to Google that. As I said before, I like to use Naples yellow for dabs of sunshine, a little sunny highlight on the tree trunks. And I don't cover the entire trunk with it, but just where I think the sunlight might catch it. This is not a very sunny painting though, so this is a sort of cloudy day in England with patches of sunshine, which is more or less like it usually is. And the thing I forgot in this picture was the shadow, I think, for the cypress trees. I put a sunny side on the tree, I put a shadow side on the tree, but I didn't put a shadow on the ground. And I think it would have looked better had I done that. I do make mistakes from time to time, and glaring mistakes, and sometimes I only like part of a painting, and sometimes I will go in and try and correct whatever I've done wrong, but most times I don't do that. I let it go and I just carry on with the next painting. Otherwise, I think I'd have a huge pile of paintings I have to do something about, probably never paint again just from looking at it. So that's the way I handle mistakes. I just let them go. I usually mix French ultramarine blue and sap green for the shadow in the tree. The sap green I'm using at the moment isn't my usual brand. I can't remember what it is, to be honest. And I'm not totally satisfied with that particular sap green, but it's, I suppose, doing the job. And sometimes I use raw umber. Raw umber is a neutral and mostly sort of transparent. And it is great just for giving you shadows, setting things on tables so that they don't look like they're floating in midair. It's just a nice glaze, I think, is the best thing to call it. I like to use a fan brush for scrubby, grassy type things. You can use it flat and pull it up for sort of a grass, or if you want a little shrub, you can turn it on its side and it will give you a taller pattern of shrubbery or grass or taller grasses. It's a very handy tool. And mine I've had for years. It's a bristle brush, and I must have had it 30 years. It's very old. So there's not much left to do. It's more or less finished. Sometimes I have to force myself to stand back and call the painting finished. And it's not always an easy call on whether a painting is finished or not. Sometimes I just have to sit with it, make myself a cup of tea, sit and look at the painting and decide if there's anything else I need to do, or if I can sign it and let it go. So if you did enjoy it, please like, share and subscribe. That helps my channel grow. I'd really appreciate it if you could find time to do that. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.